Adams, Oklahoma's outstanding sophomore center, is a strong All-American prospect. Iowa State's Robert Wilson, who selected the Big Eight in which to close out his collegiate career, gives the Cyclones the amount of scoring and rebounding that Coach John said he needed for his ISU team to be a title contender. Andy Hobson of Oklahoma State was the league's top rebounder in '73, utilizing his 6'8", 230-pound frame to its full potential. Nebraska's Jerry Fort is the Cornhusker quarterback on the court and one of the premier shooters in the Big Eight. Kansas center Danny Knight has drawn raves for his outstanding play on offense and on defense. The left-hander Kevin Fitzgerald led the conference in scoring in his junior year. The Oklahoma State ace is versatile. He can play either at guard or at forward. Gary Link has teamed with Everhard to give Missouri's young Tiger team enough maturity to challenge for the league crown. Wes Harris mans the forward spot opposite Robert Wilson, giving Iowa State one of the Big Eight's most dynamic forward duos. In fact, every player in the Big Eight must possess talent, maturity, intelligence, and basketball sense. And even with those elements, there is frustration. For the 28th year, the Big Eight preseason tournament was again one of the top holiday attractions in the country. Tense battles, capacity crowds, and upsets are normal occurrences, and the 1973 Classic was no exception. 9 of the 12 games were decided by 10 points or less. It was evident that close games would be the rule right from the start. In the opening game of the tournament, Missouri rode the 24-point effort of guard Steve Dangos and the 21-rebound output of Al Everhard to nip Oklahoma 73-70, despite the 24 points and 10 rebounds by Alvin Adams of the Sooners. In the second game of the opening night, Colorado edged Kansas 73-71. The Buffalo's Scott Wedman poured in 30 points and ripped off 11 rebounds for the winners. Danny Knight was equally impressive with 25 points and 11 rebounds to his credit. Two teams possessing some of the finest young talent in the Big Eight, Kansas and Oklahoma, faced each other in the second round of action. Let's listen in as Coach Ted Owens of Kansas discusses strategy with his players in the locker room before the opening tip-off.
Now, Coach Miranda saw Oklahoma play last night. How much did you see of the game? Just very little, did you? Now, Oklahoma, and I think they would prefer to play man for man. Now, Oklahoma, if they do go to the zone, they do a little bit different than we do. In that they will try to cover these 3 people with these 2. In other words, as long as they can chase these 2, they'll do it. Now, last night, they were very reluctant to come out and cover these wings. So what does that mean to us? You got to move the ball. You got to move the ball quickly, and you're just going to get the dead-on shot there. Now, Roger, I've been noticing you and Dale, you were a couple of times last night. When you caught the ball, you didn't have any leg drive. You know, you're catching like this and stiff-legging the ball up there rather than to be down. And you have to worry about that in zone, because if you don't watch out in zone, what do you start doing? Standing up, you know, instead of being in the down position. All right, now, do we have any questions about this? Now, Coach Miranda's going over this with us when we get out on the court. I believe this. I believe it's just one way to play Oklahoma, and that's playing man and go after them. I think it's a mistake to stand around and play them. I think they'll play us tighter than Colorado did. I don't think that this is the very nature of their defense. It's like the way that we play. Is that we try to go after the ball and play next receiver and this sort of thing. I think Oklahoma will play us the same way. Their guards will dig at the ball. McCurdy will dig at the ball pretty tough. Now, I don't think this will bother us very much. If it does, you guards, we come down the court. If we're in a two-man front, they will push to the middle here. So what do we have to do? Bust them, what? Pitch, and so forth. You with me? Okay. But get yourself moved. Get yourself moved.
The strategy paid off as the Jayhawks, behind balanced scoring led by reserve Tommy Smith with 24 points, topped the Sooners 82-72. Lee Gilbert pitched in 16 to pace OU. Nebraska relied on its wealth of youth to beat Oklahoma State in another close contest, 69-62. Sophomore Jerry Fort and freshman Ron Taylor combined for 42 points to pace the Cornhuskers. Junior sensation Andy Hobson led OSU with 20 points and 16 rebounds. Iowa State shocked Kansas State in the second-round action as the Cyclones gained a spot in the championship. They defeated the Wildcats 61-55, getting great play up front from forwards Robert Wilson and Wes Harris. Wilson had 20 points and 9 rebounds. Harris 16 points and 10 rebounds. Lon Kruger led KSU with 16. The Wildcats came back the next night to edge by Colorado 84-82. Kruger scored a total of 37 points in the game. That was high for the tournament. David Logan, the starting wingback for the Buffs in football season, had 22 points for Colorado. In a game filled with emotion and excitement, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State met on the final day. The Cowboys jumped out to a 45-37 lead at halftime, but in the second half, the Sooners, behind the strong inside play of Alvin Adams, Tom Holland, and Bob Pritchard, gained a victory. Adams had 29 for the winning Sooners, while Kevin Fitzgerald paced OSU with 24. The 4 days of festivities boiled down to the championship game Saturday night. The final game matched the two Cinderella teams of the tournament against each other. Iowa State, known as the tournament team because of its traditional success in the event, and Missouri, winner of the previous two classics, entered the tournament unheralded due to the loss of key starters from the year before. The Cyclones and the Tigers had shown their power in the first two rounds, and the championship game promised to be a great one, and it was. ISU jumped out to an early lead behind the shooting of Herkel Ivey and the rebounding prowess of Wes Harris. The Tigers fought back to close the gap at 38-35 at halftime. Two relatively unknown centers made their presence known in the second half. Iowa State's Craig DeLoss came off the bench to finish with 15 points for the game, and he made some crucial floor plays. For Missouri, it was Gale Wolf who came in as an unsung hero. The 6'11 junior contributed 14 points to the Tiger cause. The contest was nip and tuck throughout the second half. The game was tied 10 times in all. Senior Gary Link provided the firepower for the Tigers. He scored 14 of his 26 in the crucial second half. With 2 minutes and 57 seconds left, Missouri stole the ball, and Al Eberhard, who was later named the tournament's most outstanding player, scored on a layup to put his club on top 73-72. The Tigers were awarded a free throw on the play. A technical foul was called when an Iowa State player touched the rim of the basket. Missouri also scored on the inbounds pass with Steve Dangus connecting from the right baseline. Missouri led by 4, 76-72. The Cyclones wouldn't quit, however. Wes Harris got 2 as he followed a missed shot by Craig DeLoss with 2:31 remaining. ISU's Bill Benson stole the ball from the Tigers' Steve Dangos, who was injured on the play, and had to be helped from the court. DeLoss was fouled and calmly sank 2 free throws to tie the score at 76 all. Link then scored a 20-footer and added 2 free throws in the next 20 seconds, and that gave Missouri an 80-76 advantage. There were 35 seconds left to play. Herkel Ivey brought Iowa State back within 2. Ivey fouled Link with 8 seconds to go. The Tiger ace missed the shot, and ISU grabbed the rebound. After a timeout, the Cyclones with the basketball. 5 seconds left. With 2 seconds remaining, Ivey tried another jumper from the top of the key. This time he was denied. The Tigers were Big 8 preseason champions, 80-78. Missouri had captured its 3rd straight tournament title, perhaps the most rewarding for Coach Norm Stewart and his young squad. The jubilation was evident. Big 8 Commissioner Charles M. Ninus presented Stewart and his players the Reeves E. Peters Trophy.
Coach Stewart, congratulations. It's been a very exciting tournament. You've played excellent basketball, and you've certainly given us a lot of credit.
Colorado coach Sox Walseth tells why he thinks the Big 8 preseason tournament is such a valuable asset to the conference.
Well, I really think one thing is outstanding about the Big 8 conference is a unique situation we have here with a conference tournament at the end of December. All the teams stay in the same hotel. The kids come back here for 3 and 4 years, depending to make the squad as a freshman. They eat in the same restaurant. They know each other. They play each other. They're familiar with each other. They like each other. And I think it's a very, very close-knit league. And the coaches are very close. And the kids like each other. And I think it's, as I say, a unique situation. I think it's one of the things that makes the Big 8 basketball program such an outstanding thing, and makes the players so close to each other throughout the year.
The Big 8 conference race was one of the most balanced ever, with all 8 teams capable of winning the title. On the first weekend of play, 2 games were decided by 2 points. Colorado downed OSU at Stillwater, 67-65. At Norman, Oklahoma, the Sooners gained a 65-63 victory over K-State. Close games like that were the rule rather than the exception. The overall record against non-conference opposition for the conference was phenomenal. Teams won 65% of their games against outside competition.
Lonesome George Goebel. Driving costs less at Vickers.
Crime and Nantleys, everybody knows that.
Looking ahead to the 1974-75 season, 25 starters will be returning from this year's conference teams. That's an average of over 3 players per team. Players such as Oklahoma's Alvin Adams, Herkel Ivey of Iowa State, Colorado's David Logan, Kansas ace Danny Knight, Jerry Fort of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Oklahoma State standout rebounder Andy Hobson, Missouri's dead-eye shooter Steve Dangos, and many, many more. Sooner coach Joe Ramsey made these comments about what lies ahead.
We're really excited about this year's Big 8 basketball season as well as years to come. The Big 8 has, in the past few years, had some exceptional recruiting seasons, due primarily, I think, to the 30-second clock and also the new arena. We like to feel that our new arena at the University of Oklahoma, coupled with the one that's under the drawing board at Nebraska, will add to the league's facilities and also increase recruiting at our places. I think with the 30-second clock and also the new places that we have some outstanding talent that will provide interesting basketball for our Big 8 fans and also for our non-conference opponents. We look to a very tight race, not only this season, but in the future as well. I think that the league, due to the facilities across the league now, that we can compete with one another on an equal basis, that the league is going to be tight year after year, and we can expect some very exciting Big 8 basketball.
Yes, Big 8 basketball has it all. New facilities, top coaches, outstanding athletes, and innovations such as the use of the 30-second shot clock, which has made the Big 8 one of the best offensive leagues in the United States. Big 8 basketball is on the move.